Welcome back here to the Hill, and you are looking live right now, 6:29 here on the East Coast at the floor of the House of Representatives, where Republicans, in about the next, call it 15, 20 minutes or so, it should start, are about to take a second stab at passing articles of impeachment against the DHS Secretary, Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas. Now, if it passes, remember, last time it was a dead split vote, 215 to 215. But if it passes, Mayorkas would be only the second cabinet member in the history of this country to be impeached. Joining us now is the Democratic Congressman from Texas, Henry Cuellar. Congressman, thanks for being back here on the Hill. Appreciate the time. I know you got to go vote soon, so we'll keep this tight. But if Mayorkas is impeached and this goes over to the Senate, Congressman, should there be a Senate trial before the election? You comfortable with that, or should it take place after?
No, I think they should have the Senate trial as soon as possible. And we know what's going to happen. He's not going to get convicted there. But nevertheless, I find it very interesting that our Republicans don't want to do a border deal that they were talking about for so many months, but they still want to impeach the secretary for not doing his job. But again, Congress is not doing his job by passing a border deal. So it's putting the P of politics over the P of policy in the wrong place.
What does, and I know you live in Texas. We've talked about this before, Congressman. You live in Texas. You're a Democrat. I would think that if the president wanted to hear from his party in the state where this is sort of all or most of it happening, a lot of it happening, he'd pick up the phone and call you. I wonder what you've told the White House now that the political reality is seemingly that nothing will get done as it relates to the southern border before the election. So what have you told the White House, Congressman, and what do you think that President Biden needs to do from any sort of executive action front going forward?
Well, first of all, I think you need to look at the current law called Title VIII and do expedited removals. And when he does the expedited removals, he needs to publicize as much as possible where he's showing people being returned instead of showing people coming in. Actually, if you look at the numbers, Biden has already has really deported more people than President Trump has, because of course there are bigger numbers, but he's not showing that. So I would use Title VIII, which is a current law. I would do expedited removals, and I would publicize people going back so the images would sink in other people's and other countries' minds to show that we're actually enforcing the law.
Is it time for President Biden to sit down one-on-one with the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, or do you think that's a waste of time?
Well, I think the Speaker, with all due respect, is listening to a group of 8 that gave McCarthy a very difficult time. If he would just let us do the will of the House, we could do so many things bipartisan.
But that's not going to happen, and you know that, Congressman, which is why I asked the question about projecting forward. Is it just simply going to come down to those two getting into a room and hammering out a deal, and is that even possible?
Well, you know, I hope he does that. I mean, I think if he does that, and if there's good faith on both sides, you never know when people are there at the Oval Office talking. And I know I've worked with with the president when he was vice president, and he's good. He can talk to people, but hopefully they can try to sit down and try to work this out if it's possible.
All right, Congressman Cuellar, we got to leave it there. I know you got to head on over to the House floor to vote. Congressman Henry Cuellar from Texas, Democrat. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you again soon. Thank you for watching, and make sure you go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.